Sure can. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, T, and this is T's Good Times Garage. And that's where we're at. We're in the Good Times Garage, hanging out next to the new to me 67 Dodge Dart 2.0, ready for the next phase. Test drive, perhaps. We got to put some gas in the tank, some coolant in the radiator, and then light a fire inside of this Slant 6. Got me one of these newfangled fancy dandy gas cans. And let me tell you what, I did not pay for this can, and I didn't steal it either. What I did do was respond to the call. What the heck does that mean? That means in the city I live, they had some sort of a sponsorship activity. Bring in your old crappy gas can, get a beautiful brand new can. So I did that. I had an older can, and it was missing a couple of things. Actually, I think the only thing it was missing was the vent cap. But I decided, all right, what the heck. This thing looks like a freaking spaceship or something. And it's such a positive brand. So it's got this valve down here at the bottom, apparently. And there's your fill hose. And when you're ready for such things, you pull the safety back and press the lever. And apparently that's supposed to release gas. Did you hear that? It was under pressure. So it does seal very nicely. Anyway, we're gonna fill this dart up with about 5 gallons of petrol. Hi there. Nice day we're having. Gas is a-flowing. I can hear the tank filling up. Release the valve, and almost just like that, it stops flowing gas. I'm gonna resume. I just want to peek underneath. And make sure I don't see anything dripping. Give it a little shake. And 7 minutes later, we've emptied 5 gallons of gasoline into the tank of the Dart. How did I end up with a fuel can that meets OSHA and MSHA guidelines? I would actually say I'm impressed with this can. The only complaint so far is that it took 4 days to empty. Radiator's not full. I am short a little bit of coolant, so I gotta go pick up another bottle. That said, we have some in the system. We have some fuel in the tank. I'm gonna give this a whirl. This car has been sitting a couple weeks, I would say at least. This is tough to do with no hands. Okay, so there is apparently nothing in the carburetor. Charging the battery here. I'm gonna crank on it. See if I can get that pump to start picking up some fuel. I should prime it, huh? I'm gonna start the car, CUDA. I did end up priming. Well, kind of. Not priming like I should have, putting fuel into the bowl, but rather right down the throat Put that in park. So of course it did fire off the gas in there. I doubt we have enough left to get it to fire again. Isn't that cool, the dome light works? As one might expect, it is going to take a second or two to bring some fuel up from the tank. Well, that's a beautiful sound. No fake fuel tank. This is running off of its own fuel system now. Ain't she a beauty? It hasn't been running long, but I think long enough now that that pump is picking up fuel. Man, she sounds so sweet. I do have to add some coolant before we go drive. And I do have to move some crap. And I say crap very lovingly. Oh, listen to that beautiful sound. All right, I'm gonna shut her off. Well, I think this battery is fading too. It's reading like it's got a ton of voltage, but it doesn't last very long when you have to crank on it. But luckily, we haven't had to crank on it a ton, and well, it does look as though we've got a functioning fuel system. I don't see anything leaking at the pump. Nothing up to the carburetor through the new filter, the carburetor itself. So I'm going to go ahead and put the air cleaner back on. That could use to be replaced, but not today. I did learn something funny about this car recently. Some of you may watch a channel called Shade Tree Vintage Auto, a place in northern Utah that deals in a lot of classic Mopar stuff and other things. Some 20 years ago, yeah, that must be what he was talking about. Some 20 years ago, Jeremy used to own this car and sold it to a guy that was hoping to build a Hemi clone out of it, turn it into a 68. And he asked me if there was a little dimple in the quarter right by the taillight on this passenger side. Yep, sure is. I can probably pop that out. So from what I can tell, he was probably one of the last people to drive this car 20 years ago. And it's had 2 owners in between at least. I couldn't say for sure if there's been others, but it is a small world. I do want to do a couple other things with it. Of course, I've got to move stuff. But we'll get the coolant topped off. I am probably going to change the oil and maybe even the transmission fluid. Let's take a look. We'll see. That might be okay. I definitely want to change the oil though. It's a little dark. Well, as you can see, the 67 Dart is now outside the garage. And I've already taken the bench seat out, and a cherry from the tree, a rotting cherry, has fallen out. We're gonna get down under the carpet and see exactly what it looks like. So far, we've already made 2 cents, a bit for the drill. And we can learn to go rock climbing, I think, now with that. Just kidding, I know there's a lot more to it than that. Oh, some, dielectric silicone compound. Appears to be unopened. You can never have enough of that. My main deal is I wanted to get this crusty section out. And we'll just, I'm not gonna take the sill panel off, I don't think. Hopefully not cut that wire. Looks like speaker wire though. Somebody wired up those 6x9s in the back. And I wanted to just get a really good look at the floor. I'm gonna find a couple more pennies. Saw one under here a second ago too. We're up 4 cents. Well, we've got everything vacuumed out. I'm leaving this section of carpet in, but in case you wanted to look. Vacuum cap, I didn't go all the way under there. Still mostly red underneath the carpet, at least this section on both sides. You can see, well, the sun, yeah. Okay, well, it looks good down there. I have to say that. Really solid underneath there. And it is surface rusty down here in the corner in the back seat. Some of the old seam sealer and stuff has, you know, dried up, cracked up, and vacuumed away real easy. But still really solid back here. I did pop the back of the bench out to see if, just in case there was maybe a build sheet or something, but no such luck. There's those Kenwood 6x9s and their wiring. I found this visor that needs a little bit of a help. A little sewing. Maybe that one's fixable. I don't know. I'm not even 100% sure. Yeah, it's probably for this car. Let's set that back a little bit, and we'll raise this up. It didn't get too far deep and down under the center of this section, but still very solid under there. Just when we get up here underneath the front foot panel area, you can start to see there is a little bit of a hole right there. Mostly solid. I think in the long term, a restoration for this car means this front panel gets replaced. And I think so on both sides. Same thing over here. I did find a hole somewhere. Oh, there it is. I think this car would be a really awesome base for restoration. So you see some white door panels. I'm not sure what is correct. We have a back bench seat that appears to be black. But if we step over here to the base, it looks like it has a blue hue. And I know for a fact that this seat, the front bench, not original to this car. One of the seat belts actually had a tag on it that said 70 or 72 or somewhere in that range. So I'm pretty sure that this is an early Duster bench seat. So the interior, a hodgepodge of things. I think what I'm gonna have to do to know exactly what we'd be looking at here is to check the fender tag out. Kind of thinking that's gonna be a video we do here pretty soon too. We'll decode that tag. But it does have a black headliner. In the meantime, I'm gonna throw the seat back in. A little update on the bench seat here in the back. That is a blue hue. At least we know it's a Dodge seat. But this black trim, which is loose. Well, at times when I look at that looked blue to me too in that corner. I'd say we definitely have black here. Tough to say. This car, maybe it had a few things replaced on it. I really need to get into that fender tag. Definitely blue. Seat belts even appear to have a little bit of a blue tinge to them. Getting these back in can be a pain. There's this hook section under here that we're trying to line up. Don't think there's been anyone in the back seat of this car for 20 years. Hi. Just taking a break. Don't mind me. We still got to throw the bench seat back in up front. We'll get that here in a second. Grand total of 25 cents. A marble that looks like it came out of a Hungry Hungry Hippos game. Marvin Gardens from McDonald's Monopoly. That probably would have helped you 25 years ago. And somebody may have enjoyed an Abba Zaba in this car. Seats are back in it. Test drive even more imminent. I did hook up the oil warning light as well, and this light is not on, so it could mean the bulbs just burned out. But the gauge claiming and charging, and you just saw it, apparently putting 14 volts into the battery. The brakes feel a lot better than they did. What I'm going to do for the moment is just get the car up here on the side of the garage, the RV pad, if you will. And we may be taking it for a little zoom around the neighborhood shortly. How are those brakes? Sensitive?
A little sensitive.
Le Medine Voyage for the new Dart, Ms. Darlene. And I don't think I've mentioned that yet. If I haven't, Mrs. T came up with that idea. She thought this beautiful Dart looked like a Darlene, and I agree.
Well, what did you want to call her?
Well, after she started calling her Darlene, I started calling her Dartlene because I thought it was funny. But it doesn't have quite the ring to it. So she is Darlene. Some good gauge action. The speedometer does, well, it was moving. Oh, feed her the beans. All the onions. How's the view through that crack in the windshield? Yeah, she is, huh? She's taking these speed bumps very nicely. speedometer does, well, it's moving. So yeah, I would say it's working. What do you think, Mrs. T? Do you like driving Darlene?
I love Darlene.
She's a beaut. Still got some crap in the trunk. It's not crap, it's a lot of the trim that goes to Darlene, so it's just bouncing around back there. No big deal. Mrs. T's doing a swell job of piloting Darlene on the maiden voyage. Coming up on lap traffic here.
We have linkage.
We do have a right blinker. Seemed like one of them didn't work. The right blinker works, so we're limited to right turns for today. Fancy meeting you over here. Why, hello there.
Why, hello.
Come on. There's definitely some weird sounds. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. It's not all cookies and punch. What do you expect, though? Off the road, 20 years, Darlene's making it happen again. And the horn works.
And the horn works.
The only thing that's bothering me is the temperature gauge has not come up at all yet. So likely it doesn't work. Well, that was fun.
Woo!
I think we'll take it back to the house. Darlene has officially driven more today than she has in 2 decades. Well done, Darlene.
Well done, Darlene.
Well done.
Well done.
Well done. Well done.
She's a beaut.
She is. So the speedometer is working and does seem like it might be in halfway accurate. It's claiming we're doing 16 or so right now. And the odometer is turning. I just watched it cross over again. So we put a few tenths on it. We may have even put a mile on it by now. Darlene has driven a mile.
Woo-hoo.
For the first time since likely 2004-ish. But she's got lots of weird, quirky sounds that can only come from having a car that's been off the road forever. Trying to get her back into happy business. But the oil light has not come on. I did hook that back up. So that's good for the engine. You saw the alternator was charging. Trying not to hit my kid's car here. The only non-Mopar product allowed on the Good Times property. But we'll dig a little deeper into some things. We'll see if we can find any issues. Maybe it's just the quirkiness of an old car. Noises and sounds. I'll try not to hit the back gate here. Let's restart this again. Most good. I just want to keep driving. I should have checked the odometer to begin with. See how far we've gone. I don't know what's going on down here. There's some light on down here too. But she sounds good. She's not boiling over. The temperature gauge does not appear to be working, however. The brake system light, not lit. That's good. I'd say that's a successful voyage. Wouldn't you, Mrs. T? There
Yes.
we go. I think that'll do it for this episode then. We are driven. We have driven. We have test driven the Dart 2.0, my new to me 1967 Dodge Dart. Now we figure out what's next. Until then, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, you're awesome, and I thank you. If you're not, please give it some consideration. I would love to have you on board. Until then,